I want to bring in House Minority Whip Steny Hoyer. Good to see you, Congressman. Good morning.
Good to be with you.
Where do we stand from your perspective right now? Is Congress any closer to ending this shutdown?
Well, I think the American people are certainly demanding that Congress act responsibly. And the question is, are we any closer to responsibility? But we're in a very ironic situation here. You've got Republicans saying on both the House and the Senate side that it's really Obama wants the government to shut down. Democrats want the government to shut down, which is patently absurd. But then they keep government shut down. So it's very confusing. And then, as your reporter just said, let me read you something from Representative Marlin Stutzman, from a new Republican from Indiana. We're not going to be disrespected. We have to get something out of this. And I don't know what that even is. Now, it's very difficult to have rational...
That's been getting a lot of play, but it does point to the problem, doesn't it, Congressman, about where the two sides stand. And I guess my question is, how do you get to the point where the American people can say, thank God, they finally got their act together and the government is up and running again? Let me play, if I can. You know, there's been all this talk about some sort of broader deal. This is what Marsha Blackburn said just a few minutes ago on the Daily Rundown.
We're saying as we look at the debt ceiling, we do have to look at tax reform. We do have to look at entitlement reform. And maybe we're at the point where we need to roll the CR and the debt ceiling discussions together and say, let's look at this long term.
Is that where we're heading, rolling the CR and the debt ceiling discussion together?
That's absurd on its face, and I think the Congresswoman must know that. We have 14 days until the American debt limit is reached, and America will default if we don't take action. Nobody in their right mind believes we can get to the kind of big deal that I am for, that Bowles Simpson, Domenici Rivlin, Gang of Six, all those names worked on a bipartisan big deal to get us on a fiscally sustainable path. I'm for that.
Well, do you think that we can...
Let me finish. We've been negotiating that now for 3 years. I've been very intensely involved in those negotiations. And very frankly, every time we get to one half, that is revenues, and away from entitlements, away from cuts in spending, the Republicans walk away from the table. You can't get there from here without doing that. And I think that those of us who are for a big deal welcome those negotiations, but it's very simple to do that. The president said he would do it. Harry Reid said he'd do it. We'll do it. Now, where do you do that? Well, we have two different numbers on the budget. One's a House number, one's a Senate number, and we need to go to conference, and we need to talk about a big deal. We need to talk about how resolving our differences and getting our country on a fiscally sustainable path. But the Republicans for 6 months now have refused to do that. So now we come to the point where the issue is shutting down government, which is stupid, and defaulting on our national debt, which John Boehner and all of us think would be a very catastrophic policy, and yet the Republicans stay stuck in the mud.
So if you're not, Congressman, going to roll together, if you're not going to roll together a clean CR and the debt ceiling conversation, there were 20 members of both parties who have signed on to a proposal to reopen the government, finance it for 6 months, and repeal the tax on medical devices. Is there anything that can be given, any kind of compromise that can happen just to get that CR done?
Look, I think the compromise can happen, but the longer the Republicans have held hostage the Affordable Care Act, the less time we've had to get there. Yes, I think compromise is possible, but as Charlie Dent, one of those Republicans to which you refer, said yesterday, they don't have to be in the same package. Let's open up the government. That can be done this morning. That can be done, as President Obama said, by John Boehner putting the bill on the floor, and the Republicans say they want to get government open. Hooray, we do too. Let's have a unanimous vote. It won't be a unanimous vote, but every Democrat will vote to open the government today. Then I think every Democrat will vote to make sure that the government doesn't default on its debt. Then when we get those two critically important issues so that the whole country is not roiled by those, sit down at the table and rationally discuss what are bipartisan plans that are on the table to get us to a fiscally sustainable big deal. This country ought to do that. I'm for doing that. Democrats are prepared to sit down, and Republicans say they're prepared to sit down. Let's do it.
Minority Whip Steny Hoyer, great to have you on the program, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.